Hi everyone, this is Laura Campen, and I'm going to be doing our second part of the presentation. So the goal is that we want to move towards a gender holistic creativity society, where healthy men and women do not see gender as two separate entities or independent from each other and their environments. And the goal is that they can have balance. However, this is difficult to achieve because in society it has been shaped by a dominator society, and there's major obstacles in redefining that society of male dominance and including creativity. And so in the article it talked about how Bateson and Richards term this as like ordinary creativity or everyday creativity, that we're practicing this in our everyday lives, and it's not just in art or in inventions, but it's in our daily realities, and it can be in all areas. So some examples is that it could be in healthcare, businesses, ecology, our environment. There's several different things that make up creativity, and it's not just in art, but it's in several different aspects all in our life. And so ungendering the domains of creativity is really taking that and breaking that barrier down into thinking about how we can make things so that they're not associated with men or they're not associated with women. So things that need to change is that men should be able to cook and design and consider being creative, cooking and designing. That creativity can be encouraged in children to draw and create their own words, and that's an important job that we have as educators. And to ungender creativity, we need not to just relate to the domains or activities that are causing people to stereotype these groups. And so really try to not say, well, this activity is for boys or this activity is for girls, but really make sure that we're keeping it so that it's ungendered. So keeping that open definition that creativity can apply to our everyday life and its ordinary activities that can be creative. So an article that I looked up, the Krebs cycle, is basically related to this creativity, is that creativity can be in all aspects of our life, and it is in repetition, and it's a process that can keep going and going. And so this is a Krebs cycle that is related to the cycle that shows the form of energy in organisms. However, this is related to creativity, and it was created by a person called Neri Oxman, who is a designer and architect, and helped build this, and he works for MIT. And so it can be viewed in many different ways. So it can be viewed as a clock, and you can go clockwise around this to look at the different aspects of creativity. You can look at it as a microscope, looking at just one aspect of creativity. For example, I might just look at engineering, I might look at design, I might look at science. But it can also be like a compass, where it can be swayed different ways. It can go up and down, side to side, diagonal. So there's many different ways to look at creativity, and this is just showing another way outside the article of how creativity can be a part of our everyday life. So when we're democratizing and contextualizing creativity, in the past it's been a man's world, where only recognizing creative achievements is based on how public it's been, how many people have seen it. And so this is a society that has put more value in masculinity, and women are expected to support male achievement and expected to kind of sit back and listen in to that. And so it's suggested that to have that gender holistic society and contextualized tactic, we need to shift society's thinking to less dominator and more of a partnership of creative acts, of working together and making sure that we're not working as an individual, we're not working on our own, but that men and women are working together to accomplish creativity and being supportive of one another. So an example of that they gave in the reading is that the movie industry, we need to make sure that it's not male dominated, but having a partnership in the movie industry would help. And so solutions to that is that typically in a dominator system, there's going to be violence, there's going to be things escalating quickly, and it's going to be restrictive for men or women. But in a partnership system, if you were looking for a solution to creativity, you might come up with different strategies, creative strategies, relationship building and working together, and goal seeking, setting goals with one another or for your own self and working together to reach those goals. So I found an article that was called "To Close the Gender Gap, What Needs to Change, Women or the System." And so I found some just important quotes that I thought really stood out to me from the reading, and that women have been determined and they need to be creative in how they get things done. She says, it's talking about the CEO. And she adds, at the same time, the company has to be a creative environment to be supportive and make it work. So again, that supportive partnership society will be more beneficial and get more successful achievements done rather than the dominant society that we're typically used to. Another CEO of Pax World Management said doing the right thing and the smart thing by having women have the best jobs and whoever's best fit for that job, whether it's a male or female, that's how it should be. So the teams that include more women actually tended to perform better than those that had fewer women. Again, if we work together with men and women, they're performing better and working together to really become more creative people. So generational changes is that the current developments is that Montori and Donnelly in the article noted that the differences between generations and their experience and how they express creativity was different. And so college students in 2010 saw creativity as everyday things, and they said that the reason that college students saw creativity as more everyday was because on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, that students are able to express their creativity in everyday ways, and you're getting online and seeing it, every day. So it doesn't seem like it's just art or it's just inventions, but that it could be any aspect of your life. Whereas baby boomers actually saw creativity more as individual. And so they gave some examples like Einstein and Van Gogh that were more creative, but at the same time, more individual. And so we want to today have more participation in creativity rather than being an eminent creative person, that it can be small little things and it doesn't have to be big creativity things, but it could be just that you're participating and being creative. So creativity and dominance and a partnership social context. So fitting in with those social expectations in a male-dominator society. Obviously, if you want to conform, there's not going to be as much, equal equality and a partnership for women to be included in that creativity. And so the rise in economic and ecological and social crisis, we have issues like pollution and waste and all this different things, and we need to work on that. But the best way to work on that is by having that partnership system to help clean up and preserve our environment. And that's just one of the examples that they kind of gave us. As we know, typically women are thought to be domestic and that they can decorate and they can sew and embellish and cook, and that men should be able to be, kind of the breadwinners of the family. And so that shift in our mindset will help to solve these major problems that we're facing today. So creativity and inventiveness is that inventiveness they defined as being original but not necessarily creative. So they gave the example of a clean bomb, which is basically a bomb that kills people, but it leaves the property untouched. And so they said that that's an original thing, but not necessarily creative and not a good thing. Whereas creativity is something that nurtures, supports, and increases choices in groups and individuals. Again, working together, that partnership that we've talked about. So usually it's more ethical and more moral when we have creativity rather than inventiveness. And so in order to move more towards a partnership creativity, communities need to solve everyday problems with a creative approach rather than thinking that one person can solve it or whatever, that they can work together to have that creative approach. And so in the article, Teddy uses the term creative genics, and women entering the public workspace should be able to work in a partnership and build a society that is more creative and supportive of human relationships, and that they work together. So some discussion starters that we have for you is that we want to know these 3 questions, a little bit more about what you've seen in society, some strategies that you could kind of think up, and what you view. We talked about for that 3rd question how young people today kind of view it more as everyday creativity because of social media rather than individual, and if you support that or if you kind of disagree with that, and explain why. So thank you for listening to our presentation, and here's our resources, and I hope you enjoyed. Thank you.